Welcome, fellow travelers through the cosmos of knowledge. Today we're venturing into the realm of political philosophy, exploring the mind of Niccolo Machiavelli, a figure whose name echoes through the corridors of history. Machiavelli, a product of the Italian Renaissance, wasn't just some armchair philosopher. He lived in a world of political intrigue, of shifting alliances and ruthless power plays. He was a keen observer of human nature, and his masterpiece, The Prince, offers a stark and some might say cynical view of leadership and power. Now you might be thinking, Neil, why are we talking about a 16th century Italian philosopher? Well, my friends, Machiavelli's insights into human behavior, power dynamics, and the very nature of leadership remain as relevant today as they were centuries ago. In this exploration, we'll dissect 20 of Machiavelli's most potent quotes, uncovering the layers of meaning and extracting the timeless wisdom they hold. Buckle up, because we're about to embark on a thought-provoking journey through the complex landscape of power, strategy, and human nature. Now, let's dive into one of Machiavelli's most famous and perhaps controversial assertions. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. This isn't about ruling through terror and brutality, it's about understanding the levers of human motivation. Machiavelli argues that fear, with its promise of swift and certain consequences, is a more stable foundation for control than love. Love, he posits, is fickle, dependent on the whims and desires of others. Fear, however, is a constant, a primal force that compels obedience. Think about it. A leader who relies solely on love risks losing control when loyalty wavers, when the tide of popular opinion turns. But a leader who commands respect, who understands the strategic use of fear, maintains order and stability. This doesn't mean a leader should strive to be hated. Hatred breeds resentment, which can ignite rebellion. The key takeaway here is balance. A leader should aim for respect and authority, even if it means sacrificing a bit of popularity. Next, we grapple with a phrase that's become synonymous with Machiavelli himself: the ends justify the means. This statement has been both praised for its pragmatism and condemned for its potential to justify ruthlessness. Machiavelli suggests that the ultimate measure of success in leadership, particularly in the treacherous world of politics, lies in the achievement of desired outcomes. If a ruler can secure stability, prosperity, and security for their people, are even the most unorthodox, even morally ambiguous methods justifiable? This Machiavellian principle finds its echo in the modern world. From the cutthroat arenas of business to the intricate dance of international diplomacy, CEOs might face gut-wrenching decisions like layoffs to ensure the long-term survival of their companies. Politicians may engage in strategic alliances, even with unsavory characters, to achieve critical objectives. However, this principle is a double-edged sword. While it acknowledges the complexities of leadership, it also carries the risk of justifying tyranny and oppression. The line between pragmatism and ruthlessness can be perilously thin, and it's a line we must always be conscious of as we navigate the complexities of power. In the vast cosmic arena, even the most massive black hole relies on surrounding matter. Similarly, a leader is defined by the counsel they keep. Machiavelli knew this well. He wrote, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." So, the next time you're evaluating a leader, look at who they surround themselves with. Do you see a constellation of brilliance, or a black hole of mediocrity? Leadership, much like the laws of physics, demands unwavering certainty. Imagine a rocket launching into space, hesitant and unsure. It's not going to reach orbit. It'll become an expensive fireworks display. A hesitant leader loses respect and trust. Machiavelli said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." true leadership is about clarity, decisiveness, and inspiration. We crave instant gratification. We seek easy answers and follow the path of least resistance. This makes us vulnerable to deception. Machiavelli recognized this flaw. We fall for quick riches and miracle cures. The key is critical thinking. Question everything and look beyond the surface. Don't be a moth to a flame. Be a critical thinker navigating the cosmos. Machiavelli, that cunning observer of human nature, hit upon a universal truth with this one. Think about it. In the vast cosmic arena, where gravity wrestles with light and black holes hold court, even the mightiest forces can be outmaneuvered. Just as a judo master uses an opponent's weight against them, deception can turn the tides of power. It's about leverage, about understanding the playing field, and exploiting those pressure points that lead to victory without a single shot fired, a single muscle strained. Now, I'm not advocating for dishonesty or trickery in your daily life, but think about it in the context of negotiations, of achieving a goal. Sometimes the most elegant solution isn't brute force, but rather a clever strategy, a well-placed word, a deep understanding of your opponent's motivations. That's where true mastery lies. It's the difference between forcing your way through a locked door and simply finding the key. Machiavelli understood this, and in a world governed by the laws of physics and the complexities of human behavior, it's a lesson worth remembering. Procrastination, the seductive siren song of "I'll do it tomorrow" that has lured many a soul to the rocky shores of failure. We've all been tempted by its call, haven't we? But Machiavelli, with his characteristically sharp insight, cuts to the heart of the matter. The universe itself doesn't tolerate delay. Stars explode, galaxies collide, and black holes consume matter with a relentless efficiency that would put any procrastinator to shame. Time, as we've established, marches on, and those who hesitate often find themselves left behind in the cosmic dust. Now, I'm not suggesting we all become slaves to immediacy. There's a difference between impulsive action and decisive action, but the ability to recognize an opportunity and seize it, to make a choice and commit to it, that's the hallmark of a mind in motion. The universe rewards action. It rewards those who embrace the present moment and bend it to their will. So take a page from Machiavelli's playbook and remember, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, the second best time, right now. Flattery, it's the cosmic sugar rush, isn't it? Sweet to the taste, but ultimately devoid of any real substance. And much like a diet of pure sugar, too much flattery can rot you from the inside out, especially if you're in a position of power. Machiavelli, ever the pragmatist, understood this. He knew that leaders surrounded by yes men are living in a dangerous echo chamber, their perceptions warped by a distorted reflection of reality. And in a world as complex and unforgiving as ours, a clear-eyed view of the truth is paramount. Think about it. The universe doesn't care for your ego. It operates on principles of physics, on the laws of thermodynamics, on the cold, hard data of reality. And if you surround yourself with people who are afraid to challenge your assumptions, to offer constructive criticism, you're essentially flying blind through a cosmic minefield. So how do you cultivate an environment where truth can flourish? It takes conscious effort. It means rewarding honesty even when it's uncomfortable. It means fostering open dialogue and valuing diverse perspectives. Remember, the truth may not always be flattering, but it's always illuminating. Friends, Machiavelli wasn't shy about comparing the game of power to the animal kingdom. A prince must imitate the fox and the lion. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. You need the lion's courage and the fox's wit, the The most effective leaders combine both. So the next time you're facing a challenge, ask yourself, what would the fox do? And what about the lion? You might be surprised at the answers you find. We humans, we like to think we're complex creatures, and sure, we've got our nuances, our quirks. But Machiavelli, he had this way of cutting through the noise. In chapter 11, he lays out a principle. Men rise from one ambition to another. First, they seek to secure themselves, then they attack others. It's like a cosmic law woven into the fabric of our ambition. Think about it. You build a fence to feel safe, secure, but that sense of security, it's seductive, it emboldens you. Soon you're eyeing the neighbor's property. This isn't me being cynical, folks, it's just observing the pattern. Nations do it, corporations do it, even your pet hamster hoarding seeds. Machiavelli understood this dynamic centuries ago, and it's more relevant than ever. Countries bolster their defenses, then look to expand their influence. Companies build moats around their intellectual property, then set their sights on acquiring competitors. It's this endless cycle of securing what you have and then striving for more. Now, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. Ambition, it's the engine of progress. It drives innovation, pushes us beyond our perceived limits. But it's a force that demands careful management. Because left unchecked, it can spiral into a never-ending game of one-upmanship, a cosmic arms race where everyone loses sight of the bigger picture. So, as we climb the ladder of our ambitions, let's remember to look up every now and then to make sure we're not just conquering for the sake of conquering, but building something that benefits everyone. All right, folks, buckle up, because chapter 12 is where Machiavelli really starts to stir the pot. He throws down this line that's guaranteed to make some of you squirm. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Machiavelli saw the world as it was, not as we wished it to be. In the realm of power, circumstances change. What was advantageous yesterday might be disastrous tomorrow. A promise made in good faith can quickly become a liability. This isn't an endorsement of casual dishonesty, but sometimes breaking a promise is necessary to secure a better future. Machiavelli once said, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great." Now, you might be thinking, isn't that a bit simplistic? And you wouldn't be entirely wrong. The universe doesn't bend to our every whim. We can't just will a black hole to disappear. But Machiavelli understood human potential. It's a force to be reckoned with. From stone tools to the James Webb Space Telescope, progress needs willpower. It's behind every breakthrough and masterpiece. Whether climbing Everest or facing Monday, belief in yourself matters. It's not just about individual achievement. Machiavelli spoke of leadership and inspiring others. Think of Martin Luther King Jr. or Gandhi. Their commitment shifted history. The universe operates on laws we're still grasping, but Machiavelli was onto something profound. Never underestimate a determined mind. It's more potent than any rocket fuel. We live in a world obsessed with optics, with how things appear, often more than how they actually are. Machiavelli predicted this social media age centuries before the first tweet. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Think about that for a second. It's like observing a distant star. From Earth, we see a point of light, a static beacon. But up close, it's a churning ball of plasma, a nuclear furnace. People are no less complex than celestial objects. We project an image, a carefully constructed persona. It's how we navigate the social cosmos. Machiavelli understood this tendency towards surface judgments. In politics, perception often trumps reality. A ruler could be benevolent, but if not perceived as strong, their reign wouldn't last. I'm not advocating for deceit. Be aware of the image you project. Remember, we're all far more intricate than any first impression. Now, we humans, we love our labels, our hierarchies, our fancy titles. We bestow them upon each other like cosmic badges of honor. But Machiavelli challenged this fascination with titles. He argued, it is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. True authority isn't granted by a piece of paper or a fancy designation, it's earned. It's about competence, vision, the ability to inspire and guide others towards a common goal. So next time you're tempted to be impressed by a title, remember Machiavelli's wisdom. Now, Machiavelli wasn't exactly known for his warm and fuzzy pronouncements. This quote is a prime example. He's talking about the messy business of power transitions, of establishing control. You know, like when a new CEO takes over a struggling company or a new political regime comes into power. Machiavelli, ever the pragmatist, argues that if you're going to make unpopular changes, you've got to do it all at once. Rip off the band-aid, so to speak. Why? Because dragging it out just prolongs the pain, creates more resentment, and gives your opponents more time to organize against you. Think about it like surgery. You want the doctor to get in, do what they need to do, and get it over with, right? You don't want them poking around in there week after week, causing more pain and increasing the risk of infection. Of course, this doesn't mean you should go around being needlessly cruel. Machiavelli's point is about decisiveness. If tough decisions are necessary, make them swiftly and decisively to minimize the fallout. This quote reveals the somewhat brutal pragmatism at the heart of Machiavelli's thinking. He's drawing a parallel between the laws governing the human world and the laws of nature. In the animal kingdom, you often see this dynamic play out. A predator might kill its prey outright, or it might form a symbiotic relationship, like cleaner fish who eat parasites off larger fish. But rarely do you see a middle ground where one animal inflicts just a little pain on another. Why? Because in nature, that's a recipe for retaliation. Machiavelli argues that the same principle applies to human affairs. If you're going to wrong someone, you better be prepared for them to come back for revenge. It's like the old saying, if you're going to shoot, shoot, don't talk. Half measures just create enemies. Now, obviously, we don't condone going around crushing people, but the underlying lesson is about being decisive and understanding the potential consequences of your actions. Now, before you go thinking Machiavelli wants us all running around with battle plans, let's put this quote in context. He uses war as a metaphor for the constant struggle to maintain power and stability. In his view, a leader must always be prepared for challenges, whether they come from rivals, internal strife, or external forces. Think of it like a chess game. A good chess player is always thinking several moves ahead, anticipating their opponent's strategy and planning their own counter-moves. They don't wait for their opponent to make a move and then react. They're proactive, always looking for an advantage. In the same way, Machiavelli argues that a leader must be constantly studying the landscape, identifying potential threats and preparing for any eventuality. This doesn't mean being paranoid or warlike, but it does mean being vigilant and strategic. Friends, we find ourselves peering into yet another fascinating, albeit unsettling, observation from Machiavelli. The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances. Now, before you bristle at the term vulgar crowd, remember, he was writing in a time of princes and peasants. But swap vulgar crowd for general public, and you'll find the sentiment is as relevant today as it was in Renaissance Italy. Humans, my friends, are visual creatures. We are easily swayed by what sparkles, what seems impressive, what projects an image of success. Think about it. A charismatic politician with a polished speech can captivate an audience, regardless of the substance or lack thereof, in their words. A company with a slick marketing campaign can convince you to buy a product you don't need. We are bombarded with images, with carefully crafted narratives, all designed to appeal to our desire for the extraordinary. Machiavelli, ever the pragmatist, wasn't passing judgment on this human tendency. He was merely stating a fact. And understanding this fact is crucial, whether you're navigating the political landscape, the business world, or simply trying to understand why that Instagram influencer with the perfect life might just be using a really good filter. You know, we often think of good deeds as universally positive, like who could hate someone for being generous? But Machiavelli, ever the cosmic cynic, throws cold water on that notion. He argues that even good works can breed resentment, especially if they create a sense of dependency. Think about it. If you're constantly on the receiving end of charity, it can be humbling, even humiliating. You might start to feel indebted, like you're not in control of your own destiny. And that, my friends, is a breeding ground for resentment. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't help those in need. Absolutely not. But Machiavelli's point is that even the best intentions can have unintended consequences. We have to be mindful of the power dynamics at play and strive to empower people, not just provide for them. This applies to everything from international aid to social welfare programs. It's about finding that delicate balance between compassion and enabling dependence, because the last thing you want is for your good intentions to backfire and create more problems than they solve. Let's talk about luck, or as Machiavelli calls it, fortuna. We love to attribute our successes and failures to external forces. It's the cosmic dice roll, right? But Machiavelli argues that while luck plays a role, it doesn't dictate our destiny. Fortune might control half of our actions, but the other half is up to us. We have the power to shape our own narratives. Think about scientific discovery. Serendipity plays a role. But behind every breakthrough, there are countless hours of hard work. It's about recognizing opportunities and seizing them. We can't control the cosmic dice roll, but we can control how we play the hand we're dealt. We can choose to be passive observers or active participants in our own lives. Those who dare to act decisively are the ones who are most likely to bend fortune to their will. Well, folks, we've reached the end of our Machiavellian journey, exploring the timeless wisdom of a man who understood the complexities of power, ambition, and human nature better than most. I hope you found these lessons as thought-provoking as I do. Remember, Machiavelli's work isn't a how-to guide for ruthless domination, but rather a mirror reflecting the realities of power dynamics throughout history and even in our own lives. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Machiavellian thought, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insightful content, and be sure to leave a comment below. Which Machiavellian lesson resonated with you the most? How do you plan to apply his wisdom in your own life? Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and as Machiavelli would say, stay wise and stay strategic.